Hey everybody, and welcome to the PlantStock channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jesse, and today we're going to talk about VRYYF, the very good food company. We've gotten some great news a couple of days ago, and it does seem to impact the stock like crazy. So we're going to talk about the Nasdaq listing, but we're also going to talk about, is it only going to be good news? Is it only something positive when you get on the Nasdaq, or when you actually get that new ticker symbol? Could something else happen when you actually reach that goal? So we're going to talk about that as well. So stay tuned. But before we get into that, as always, I would appreciate an early thumbs up so it helps the channel spread to more people out there. And as always, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel if you're not part of it. If you are interested in other plant-based companies as well as Tattooed Chef, Beyond Meat, Oatly, to name a few. And as always, as you know, we started a Discord channel a little over a week ago. We're up at 130 members right now. It's free. So if you want to talk about plant-based companies and other companies as well, make sure to join it. Take a look in the description down there. Thank you guys. I appreciate your help. And as always, let's just take a look at the stock chart. Ticker symbol VRY. It's up about 8% today. It's been an incredible ride. It's $3.2. It was actually recently up at almost $3.5, something we haven't seen in a very long time. So the last 5 days, the last Friday, it was trading down here about 2.3, 2.4. And then on Monday, when the news came out that they are going to try to apply for Nasdaq listing, this is what happened. It flew up like crazy. I think it's up now about 25 to 30% in total. So it's doing really well. And if we take a look at the other ticker symbol, the OTC version in American dollars, well, right now it's up 10%. And obviously the similar path here, down at 1.8 American dollars on Friday, and then flew up totally to be around 2.75 at one point, but still up 10+%. So it's looking really good. And obviously the news is related to that. A few days ago, they actually announced the company that they're trying to apply to become listed on Nasdaq. And obviously that is good news in many ways. As the CEO, Mitchell Scott, states, quote, "A Nasdaq listing represents a significant milestone in our growth as a publicly traded company. We believe that listing in the U.S. will unlock various opportunities to enhance corporate visibility, increase liquidity, and broaden overall awareness of the very good food company to a larger investor base while driving value for our shareholders." So obviously that is true. And if this actually happens, you should be aware that for us who are actually trading in the TSXV with the ticker symbol VRY, when this actually happens, then we're still going to be part of the Canadian version. And I imagine the one with the OTC version, that will probably change to the American Nasdaq version, right? Doesn't really matter. They're still intertwined, right? They're connected. But a lot of things is actually happening right now. Just yesterday, we found out that the Very Good Food Company takes next step towards the Nasdaq and files a F10 registration statement with a US SEC. And that's basically, if you look at Investopedia, it's basically if you're a Canadian company wanting to make this move to be listed in the American stock exchange, and in this case Nasdaq, that is what you have to do. You have to do this process, right? But it's also important to remember that even if this is really good news, as it states here, that the listing of the company's common shares on Nasdaq remains subject to review and approval of the listing application and the satisfaction of all applicable listing and regulatory requirements, including approval of the base shelf prospectus and effectiveness of the registration statement. So this is not written in stone as of yet, but we probably have a pretty good chance. I'm going to talk more about that. So obviously there's a long list of requirements to be able to enter Nasdaq. And again, if you want more information regarding this, you could take a look at Investopedia. What are the listing requirements for the Nasdaq? But here the key takeaways is major stock exchanges like the Nasdaq are exclusive clubs. Their reputations rest on the companies they trade. So that means that not any company can actually come in here, right? And they have 4 sets of listing requirements. Each company must meet at least one of the 4 requirements set, as well as the main rules for all companies. In addition to these requirements, companies must meet all of the criteria under at least one of the following standards. And a company has 4 ways to get listed on Nasdaq, depending on the underlying fundamentals of the company. So there are different rules here, and you can just take a look at here. It has to do with earnings, capitalization with cash flow, with revenue, assets with equity. So basically, take a look here if you are uncertain. One thing that did scare me first is that normally it has to be around $4 to $3 or $3 to $4 when it comes to what the stock price should be at. But it are circumstances, depending on the varying requirements, where $2 would be okay. And the question is then, this is probably not going to be in Canadian dollars, then it should be American dollars. And it is obviously over that right now, which is good. But what would happen if it's not? But obviously, it seems like it's a bigger bet if it was around $3. But I think they could actually handle that otherwise. I imagine that they could do like many other companies in this situation would do, and it is that they would do a reverse stock split. Now, what does that mean? Well, basically, it is like a regular stock split, right? That maybe it's going to be worth a 10th of what the one stock is worth. Meaning if, like Tesla, for instance, I think it was a 1/5 split, right? It was around 1,500 when it split. Then if you had one stock, all of a sudden that would become 5 stocks, and every stock would be worth $300 instead. Now, this would be the other way around. And this is something you usually do when you actually want to get up your price of the stock. So the key takeaways here, as it states, a reverse stock split consolidates the number of existing shares of stock held by shareholders into fewer shares, right? A reverse stock split does not directly impact a company's value, only its stock price. It can signal a company in distress since it raises the value of the otherwise low-priced shares. And remaining relevant and avoiding being delisted are the most common reasons for corporations to pursue this strategy. Now, obviously, this is in many ways great news for us who are stockholders. I think we could expect that this will actually make the stock go up even more with time, even though the valuation isn't there at this moment, but it will be with time. But it leads to that more people will start to notice this company, right? It will lead to hopefully that institutions will be more aware. Wall Street will be more aware of the company. And it is a pretty hot market right now, plant-based companies, right? So if there's a new company out there and they take a look at it, hopefully they'll be interested in it, especially when they start bringing in those revenues. Might take some time though. So just be patient there. But also, obviously, that retail investors will find out more about this company and it will make it more appealing. And as they do talk about expanding even more with time into Europe as such, they probably will need more money with time. And being able to get better credits, better loans with better conditions that they've had so far, right? With a better interest, much lower interest, will probably be more likely if they're part of the Nasdaq, right? Because as we know, the Nasdaq is among one of the biggest exchanges out there. So if you're part of that, it kind of shows that you're a company to count on. So good news in that way. But I just want to prepare you. If this actually happens, we still don't know to 100%, but it does seem likely. And what I've read and heard is that when you started doing these applications, it could take between 6 to 8 weeks. So it could actually happen now in October or the beginning of November. We'll have to wait and see. But I want to give an example what this could actually mean for the stock price. And what I want to do is give you an example from a friend of mine who's invested in another Canadian company, but not a food company. It's a mining company that mines graphite. I think it's a French-Canadian company. It's called Nouveau Monde Graphite. Sorry if I'm butchering the French there, guys. But This company had a lot of hype and a lot of people were really interested in it, especially considering what Tesla is doing in the world and EVs and mining graphite, what that would mean for different car companies out there and other possibilities. When it came out here, if we're taking max, it came in January here. It was trading around $13, then went down to 12, but it was, hyped a lot. People were really interested in it. It went up to $20, and look at it now, it's around $6, right? This is back in February. Then it started going down more and more and more. And then here, I think it was in April it came out news that at this time, they were actually not trading on Nasdaq or NYSE. They were trading in the Canadian Stock Exchange, so the SCE, like the Very Good Food Company used to do before the TSXV, right? Really small stock exchange. And then they came out with information around this period that they were going to try to get into NYSE, right? And then it started trading up slowly and then pushing down again here in May. And then when it got closer and they started to find out that on the 24th, it's going to start trading on New York or in New York, right? And it flew up even more from basically $11 up to $15 here. So around 40-50%. And this is quite common, folks, that just before a couple of days before it actually starts getting closer to the date that it's going to start listing, it will fly up. I think what I've seen, numbers between 25 to 50%. Who knows? It might be more in our case. And then just directly after, it's just days after, it started flying down quite quickly again. And now, from about $15, $16, now down to about $6. So obviously this has to do with the overall market too, right? And that this company is probably still needs to prove itself more. And I'm sure there's a lot of possibility, but mind you, I don't know that much about this company. So what I'm just trying to say is, even if this is really great news that we might actually be listed on Nasdaq, there's still a possibility that if we actually get listed on there, the stock might fly up even more, even though it's gone up really well now in the last couple of days when it gets close to the actual listing date. But be prepared that might also be a chance then that it actually flies down a lot later. So I just want you to be prepared for that roller coaster and that volatile period that we might already actually be quite used to given the market. And then also given the market that we have right now, what's going on all around us, we can't be sure that it'll actually go up even more. And if it does, be prepared that it could fly down. But again, this is of course exciting times. There's going to be a lot of action again in VRYYF's future, right? So looking forward to see what happens. And as always, I will update you on this. All right, folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got a lot of value from today's video. And if you did, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to keep getting more information like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to be part of the Discord channel if you are interested in plant-based companies or some other stocks like Tesla, Square, and Apple. All right, thank you. And don't forget, this was not financial advice. These were just my own thoughts and opinions. It's important to do your own due diligence and always invest safe. Have a great Thursday. Hope to see you soon and peace out.